What's happening, fam? L.A.R movement still moving. The book is entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father at Amazon, Kindle, and Create Space. Link will be in the description box below as usual. Description box. This one's entitled Public School versus Private School. You know, public school is in some ways um, has a bad rap of giving a bad education or a good rap of giving a bad education. Private school has the rap of you get what you pay for. You know, so from my experience, I'm gonna tell you the pros and cons. And dealing, just even observing from afar for now. Public schools, I think socially in some ways, the pros about it are these are the people that your children are going to grow and interact with as they get older because public society is bigger than private society. But that isn't necessarily a good thing because it's a mix of the good thing about it is it's a mix of everything, of every type of personality, of mostly every type of demographic. You got your excellent, you got your mediocre, you got your um, subpar, you know, or average and mediocre and subpar. So because of that, you see people separate from the pack, people be left behind. You get to see how society actually works. Um, Private school, it's kind of the same thing, but it's not because of the nepotism involved. Like some people's ability to families who have the ability to afford private school will have an upper hand in life because they have networks to cover up mediocrity, average, or subpar individuals with their support systems. So in essence, that's a whole nother world. It's a whole nother atmosphere because you're passing down generational wealth and responsibility to the next generation. And it's understandable you want to keep it in the family, but even those families have issues because over time you start realizing people are incompetent because they just are enjoying the spoils, but they don't know how to necessarily keep the spoils or grow what is already there. Now the cons would be um, public school dealing with the poverty sometimes, or just the the, the lack of discipline, um, overcrowdedness, the lack of, how can I say this, like individual help. You know, this is not for all public schools because there's some public schools that are ran excellent, but you would say most are not. Just the idea, just the premise of it. Now, one of the things about that is when you're dealing with it, you don't necessarily pay attention to the 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 dynamic of some kids want other kids to fail because you, the separation of groups, you start to realize that at a certain point, you know everybody wants to be the top dog, and everybody knows they can't be the top dog or not willing to put in the work to be the top dog. So what they will do is drag down somebody with the potential to be, and that happens what very often, very often. Private school, I think it breeds delusion, because when you're accustomed, it comes with a certain aura of I'm going to this place, and this place has this status symbol, and you know, because of this status symbol, I am somebody. And the delusion breeds fake confidence because you're in a situation where they might get more help because of the smaller classes and the people paying for that. Some may be smarter. Some may, it is what it is. Some might get helped up to being smarter because you can take more time with it. But when you put them in a room with their peers in totality, they've been coddled too much, so they can't necessarily handle pressure, or even not even real pressure, just perceived pressure. Just they make up pressure that doesn't necessarily shouldn't really harm anybody, because they're just too coddled. So they have a hard time competing because once you crack their delusional confidence, most can't come back from that. Is what it is. Um, the other, one of the major things is about cost. If you live in a good neighborhood, your school is going to should um, be well taken care of. If you live in a bad neighborhood, not so much. We're going to a private school. Yes, the tuition thing. Some people need to use the different addresses. But here's the thing: you gotta actually, when you're choosing between public and private, actually take a good hard look at the schools and what they do and what they produce. Because a public school might be a might not have the best reputation, but certain aspects and subjects in that public school might be ahead of those private schools, and vice versa. You know, but you would expect to get more for your money at the private sector, but that's not always the case. You know, some public schools have a better STEM uh, program than private schools. So then you find yourself like, why am I shelling out this money for this if I can just go here and get a better quality education? You know, the thing about private, excuse me, is I think the schools are much more structured, so it helps to get more out of the kids. Because there's a higher responsibility to be on point because people are paying for this and not just it's not just tax. It's not public education. It seems like you're entitled to it, but people are paying their taxes. But when you're paying extra on top of your taxes for this, there's a bigger chance that the people that are working at these places have more of an invested interest because not only are they trying to keep your child, they're trying to keep your business. So, you know, that's just my take on that. We out.